Hi, everyone. So I actually wasn't a CVS student, but I was a better half of a student that graduated last year who happens to be my co-founder. And today we're going to talk about how to scale what's seemingly criticized as an unscalable business. So I'm Olivia. I'm a diamond expert, GIA graduate gemologist, and fourth-generation jeweler. I've worked in all facets of the jewelry industry, from retail at Tiffany & Company, wholesale at one of New York City's largest diamond wholesalers, and most recently, e-commerce at The RealReal. Many of you may think that I was probably predestined to work in jewelry, because my dad came from a lineage of diamond cutters and dealers from Antwerp, Belgium, which used to be the diamond capital of the world, and he actually started an antique jewelry business with my mom. But actually, while I was growing up, I was told that the jewelry industry was a terrible industry to go into and to never touch it. But I graduated from NYU and I was really kind of lost and didn't have a particular passion. So I decided to go to GIA. If many of you haven't heard of GIA, that's totally fine. It's really niche in the jewelry space. It's the Gemological Institute of America, and it's the industry leader in diamond grading and gemstone identification. Fast forward a few years, I was working at a diamond wholesale company. A lot of my friends were that age that they were starting to get engaged. They would go online and get super confused and overwhelmed by all of the information. They didn't know where to go, who to trust, or if they were getting a good value. A lot of them would come to me and I'd work with them, walk them through the process, educate them, and make them the perfect ring. One person started referring me to another and another, and I quickly realized that most people didn't know the first thing about buying a diamond. I kept getting the same questions over and over again. So I guess this was the first time we decided to kind of scale. I took all of that information in my little brain and put it online. I started The Clear Cut as an educational blog that made buying a diamond easy to digest. We let you know what mattered, what didn't matter, and what to look out for when looking for your stone. I then work with clients as a private jeweler to pick out their perfect diamond and then create their ring. We had a really visual product, and we decided to start posting some of our designs on Instagram. It organically grew from there, and we have almost 75,000 organic followers. We've been featured in Vogue, Who What Wear, Guest of a Guest, and The Knot. I had to take a step back and think about what were we doing that was resonating with people. And I realized that the jewelry industry wasn't a terrible industry, it was just broken. A young person nowadays looking for a ring has one of two bad options. One is traditional retail. You go into a brick and mortar store and it's a bit intimidating. You overpay for that extra attention and maybe the glass of champagne, which I know is true from working at Tiffany, but 2,000 brick and mortar jewelry stores closed down throughout the US this year. The other option is online marketplace, which has hundreds of thousands of options, but very little guidance and expertise. The third option for a person maybe in a major city like New York or LA is to know a guy, which is pretty fragmented and not the ideal situation. Any industry where you need to know a guy needs to be disrupted. So at The Clear Cut, we're trying to fill this void, this gaping white space in the jewelry industry, where we couple expert concierge service with e-commerce. So at the Clear Cut, this is how the process works. Let's say my client Kieran, he's been, hinted at by his future fiance on what she wants for her engagement ring. He goes online, kind of gets an idea of what he can afford, and he knows she wants a round diamond. So then he hops on a quick 10-minute consultation with me or one of our experts. We understand his specifications, his preferences, and his budget. We then curate a small selection between 5 to 10 of the highest quality diamonds within his price point. And we have a unique supply chain advantage where we work with some of New York City and abroad's largest diamond wholesalers. We then work together to create his future fiance's perfect ring. It's then shipped out with a GIA certificate for the diamond and a retail insurance appraisal. So I know this may sound like it's a very heavy and manual lift and it isn't a scalable business, but we've been fortunate enough to be part of Techstars, and During our time there, all we do all day, every day, is deep dives into figuring out solutions to these issues. So some criticisms that we've gotten are that it's a one-time purchase, it's a long sales cycle, and customer acquisition. We're not like a typical direct-to-consumer, one of the typical iconic direct-to-consumer brands, like even a Casper or an Away, where even though you may not buy a mattress more than once every 10 years, if you really fall in love with the brand, you may decide to throw away your old mattress and buy a Casper one because you love the brand. We can't convince people to get married, nor should we. So we've had great success with customer acquisition through social, word-of-mouth referrals, and targeted email marketing. And the best thing for us to do is quickly qualify leads. So spending a lot of manual time and this hand-holding process with an unqualified lead is definitely not scalable. But once we have a qualified lead, we quickly segment them into 4 different customer profiles, each with their own unique sales funnel and roadmap. Within that, they have their own individual content marketing campaigns and different types of customer acquisition until we close the sale. And if some of you are still skeptical, I've seen human expertise scaled firsthand at The RealReal. So for any of you that may not have heard of it, The RealReal is a luxury consignment company where every single piece of jewelry is actually authenticated and appraised by a gemologist. And then pricing is communicated over the phone or in person. They're almost $1 billion business. So if they can scale human expertise, we can follow their lead. Our customers don't like our product. They love our product. And they wear it on their hand every single day and are brand advocates for us. The criticism of having an engagement ring as a one-time sale, we don't see it that way. An engagement ring is probably the biggest purchase of a young person's life and one of the most important. When we build our relationships with our clients, they come back to us for anniversary gifts, wedding bands, push presents, and we see the diamond engagement ring as the gateway into all other fine jewelry. We're reinventing the way people are going to buy fine jewelry. So we've scaled from a blog to an Instagram to a quickly growing business. We've been growing a little over 100% quarter over quarter, and we believe that we're going to be the next generation's jeweler for life. And I know I'm supposed to talk about scaling into a big business, but we definitely are still figuring things out. But what I will say is that, What I will say is that if you are passionate about something and you see a problem in the market, don't wait for someone else to fix it. Go out and try to figure it out. It was really, really hard for us to raise any money, and that didn't stop us. And now we're almost at $1 million in revenue. So, yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. My question is, how are you differentiated from sites like Blue Nile and James Allen? I'm assuming you probably have better quality of service. And is your price also better than them?
So we actually have pretty similar pricing to the online marketplaces out right now. We actually don't list any of our inventory online. Everything is curated personally to your specifications, and you either are talking to an expert in person or transacting via email, text message, or even direct message on Instagram.
Hi, great talk. I was wondering, vis-a-vis the startup process you went through, does the fact that the jewelry business can tend to be oriented, or the people that are within it, the sellers, the creators, et cetera, tend to come from certain ethnic groups, or that there are certain places like here in New York, 42nd Street, and similar places in other cities, et cetera. Did that make a difference in the process that you used?
don't think it made a difference in the process. I think I had worked on 47th Street in the industry, so I had like a really deep knowledge of it, and my family came from that background, but I think that definitely helped both of us understand the industry better. But we think that, you know, there are definitely like private jewelers throughout 47th Street and in the Diamond District and LA, but there are huge swaths of the US that really only have their mall jewelry store or their local jewelry store to choose from, and there needs to be more options if they're not comfortable transacting online. Yeah, traditional ways, yeah.
I can see your earrings sparkling from back here, so you clearly have a good eye for gems. Since jewelry has historically been a segment that women are more interested in, yet I'm sure many of your clients are men, I'm curious to hear a bit more about your marketing and customer acquisition strategy.
Totally. This is one of our, you know, biggest things that we struggle with every day, that we're creating a brand and a product that needs to be aspirational and made for women, and a purchasing process that is simple enough for a man. So, yeah, and we like have to target both at the same time, because a lot of times in this purchase there isn't a lot of communication. I mean, we're seeing more and more that couples are shopping together, at least in the beginning. But yeah, there are definitely men that go off on their own, so we need to make them feel comfortable as well. So it is a challenge that we're always working on. Thanks.
You mentioned how you're disrupting an industry that has been really resistant to that kind of disruption because you have to know a guy, et cetera. Yet a lot of the reasons I think that the issues that currently plague the jewelry industry exist is because those stores are downstream from major conglomerates that control the diamond trade and things like that. How do you see yourself insulated from the artificial scarcity created by, you know, massive diamond conglomerates? And how do you resist the potential to have one such conglomerate step in and artificially then reduce its prices to be able to compete with you with this kind of model?
So yeah, basically, so we have like a unique supply chain advantage because we have direct access to the cutters and wholesalers, so that comes after. So basically how diamond industry works, it's like first mined, then it's cut, and then it's distributed to wholesalers, and then it goes to retailers. So since brick and mortar retail is doing so poorly right now, a lot of the wholesalers' businesses are in turn suffering, and they don't really have outlets for their supply. So we're acting as this new channel for the wholesalers and cutters' supply. Thank you.